probably my go-to mastic gum here in terms of recommendation because it's extremely cheap. The flavor is more rubbery, but it's not as trashy. It's not as hard as mastic though, but it has a decent flavor. So you can probably find some that are flavored, unflavored ones. Mastic gum is definitely the one I would tell you to get because you can get like 300 pieces from Amazon for like a couple of bucks. I'll put a link below as well. So yeah, you can get the same exact Fallon gum that I use. It's unflavored. Then we have jawliner gum. It tastes the best. It's less hard than mastic, but it's similar to Fallon. And that similarity is great because it tastes the best and it's very similar, but the price of it is similar to that of mastic gum while being a whole lot worse in terms of training your jaw. We're talking about training your jaw here, not enjoying, chewing gum. But if you care about the taste and you can afford it, get yourself some jawliner gum. You can look up some jaw gums that taste good. They're just harder gums, but if you really care about just getting the right price for your buck, just get Fallon gum, honestly. But yeah, when it comes to jaw exercisers, and what I mean by this, it's these balls, these rubbery plastic things that you insert in your mouth. This method is not recommended because of many drawbacks. I'm going to talk about the ball specifically. If you open your mouth too wide, this device can actually lead to jaw issues and clicking sounds. And this is like TMJ. If you don't know what that is, it's an issue with the jaw. It places a lot of pressure on the front of your teeth, which are not designed for chewing hard foods, and it can result in actually dental damage. So let's not do that. So anything that has you placing a product at the very, very front of your jaw, don't touch those. There is another smaller silicone device that fits at the end of your mouth, whereas instead of being at the front, it's in the very, very back of your molars. Unlike the ball method, it's actually better because it doesn't require you to open your mouth as wide and it reduces the risk of jaw-related problems. Additionally, these devices are actually placed in the back, so similar to like chewing harder foods, and it minimizes the likelihood of dental issues. So the pros are going to be that it's actually optimal for muscle growth. It's very easy to track, very, very easy. It's very simple. Facilitates progressive overload, long-term cost-effective compared to gum, but it's not so passive, and there's a high risk for teeth and jaw. And it also kind of looks ridiculous, so you can't really implement it in your day-to-day life, and it'll give you some problems with your jaw. Here's what I personally use when it comes to silicone jaw fixers. I've put one link down below. You can go ahead and check it out. But when it comes to the top list, the tier list, number one is going to be mastic gum. If you can ignore the taste, it's the greatest thing to train your jaw with. But yeah, if you're really not up for the taste, get yourself some flavored mastic gum or even jawliner gum. The next is going to be a jaw exerciser. You can get the one that I was just mentioning, the small silicone ones, which I'll have linked below as I mentioned. Those are going to be cost effective because you just pay once and you can use them whenever. Make sure you keep it clean though. And then basic gum is going to be at the very bottom. This is better than nothing, so if you really are not interested in the rest, then you can just go ahead and get yourself some basic gum and just chew that. Whenever you go to the gym, remind yourself to chew gum. Whenever you're doing something, just find a way to remind yourself to chew something. And at the very least, chew your hard foods because those are going to help you a ton. Now, when it comes to jaw width increasing routines, you guys, we're going to have a beginner routine, an intermediate, an advanced routine, and an ideal growth routine. And then long-term must-knows and revised tracking sheets for you guys embedded below. So to start, I want to give you a beginner routine to build your masseter muscles. You want to incorporate harder foods, like I said, in your diet, like steak to enlarge your jaw muscles, and chew regular gum for at least 1 hour, 3 times a week. This won't yield significant results, but consistency is key. Remember, this is just all about consistency. You can forget about it. If it's basic gum that's going to work for you, go ahead and do that. But for a beginner who's never really focused on their jaw, just go with basic gum, start chewing, and putting breaks in between 2 days if you want to be very meticulous about it and you're worried about your jaw hurting and whatnot. Now for the intermediate workout routine, we're going to be further developing your masseter muscles. This is what I recommend for the majority of you, especially if you're young. Chew harder gum 3 times a week for 30 minutes each session. Opt for a mastic gum or a hard gum, a jawline gum for minimal growth and for maximum growth. And be cautious because with mastic gum, if you extend the chewing sessions, it can actually lead to discomfort. You don't want to go too far out to the point where your jaw is hurting. So no overexertion. Mondays, Tuesdays, Sundays, the idea is just give yourself rest. You don't have to actually follow the schedule, but if it makes you feel better, you can. Mastic gum again, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. And yeah, the advance is going to be something that I'd leave later on if you're finding yourself, able to do a whole lot more. Instead of just doing 3 sessions a week, you can do 4 this time, increasing even the sessions, the minutes that you're doing. And you can consider mastic gum, as I said, or jawline gum, or even Fallon gum, okay? let's not forget about that. Be mindful for the intensity. Again, it can lead to discomfort. And yeah, you can see how we're doing it this time around. Instead of doing it all on the same day, we're actually spacing it, every other day here. Ideal growth is going to be about crafting the perfect growth routine for your masseter muscles. So I want you guys to engage in hard chewing sessions every other day instead. So they're going to be for 1 to 2 hours. And then you want to also incorporate a jawline exerciser. So not only are you using a gum, but you're also using jawline exercisers. And again, you want to give yourself rest days in between each day. This is a 2-week thing. You can, of course, do longer as you please. And again, like I mentioned earlier, if this is not obvious, these are rest days. I don't want you guys chewing anything on these days. That's extremely hard. Maybe you can do the food stuff if your jaw's okay with it. Same thing here, 2-day breaks in between. Okay, I'm just making that very clear for you guys. And yeah, long-term muscles. If you find that you're beginning to plateau, typically around the 6-month mark of consistent chewing, do not fret. Don't freak out. This is very normal in muscle training. You have a couple of options to navigate this phase effectively. One approach is to take a break from chewing for a period of time, and my recommendation is going to be a 2-month hiatus. When I say hiatus, I mean a break. Like completely stop chewing gum in this routine of yours for 2 months after 6 months. And then if you're satisfied with your current level of growth, you can actually opt for even a longer break. So you don't have to do 2 months. You can actually do it 6 to 12 months. You can take a whole year off after training your jaw, because it's not going to go anywhere. As long as you're chewing and stimulating it with your hard foods, you should be fine. And of course, if it goes away, you can get back into it. So I do advise doing 1 to 2 month breaks in between your chewing periods. So these exercise forms that I've given you guys, these routines, you want to make sure you're giving yourself like a 1 month break afterwards, at least. Even 2 if your jaw is hurting too much, because your jaw muscle gains aren't going to go anywhere. Trust me on this. If you're seeing anything go away, it's likely other factors that are impacting this, like your body fat percentage, etc. So while chewing gum can yield substantial improvements in your jaw over time, it's essential to recognize that there's going to be limitations of its effectiveness. After 2 years of consistent chewing, you may find that progress is going to slow completely. At this stage, if you're seeking more jaw width, you have to go for alternative options. Chewing alone is not going to get you insane jaw width. It's going to get you to the potential that you need, that you're striving for. But if you reach that potential, there's nothing past that. You can't just keep chewing. It's like being natty, right, with your muscles. No matter how much you work out, no matter how good your diet is, your physique reaches a certain point where you can't go past. And the jaw happens to be under the same restrictions. So I'm going to give you guys a revised tracking sheet below. It's going to be embedded. I've developed it so that you can accompany it, for your journey. It's a tool that serves you as a valuable resource because it's going to help you set clear goals and to also monitor your progress along the way. This is for the people that are really into this. If you really want to get down to this, you can click on the button below this. You'll see a link embedded. That's going to take you to an exclusive access form, a revised tracking sheet for you.